Awesome. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Wednesday Krishna Katha. We will do Jai Radha Madhava first, then we'll do Hare Krishna Kirtan, then Mangalachan prayers, and then we will start discussing the topic for today, which is the most confidential knowledge. Prabhu, can you please share Jai Radha Madhava and start?
Oh, just give me 1 minute.
Okay.
I will post the messages in the online channels and then
I'll start.
Start sharing the screen.
Okay. So I can start, right, Prabhu, singing?
Yes, you can start singing, Prabhu.
Jaya Radha Madhava.
Yes, you can start.
Jaya Kunda Bihari. Jaya Kapitana Vallabha. Jaya Givaranari. Jaya Kapitana Vallabha. Jaya Girivaranari. Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yashodanandana Vrajajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gunja Bihari Jaya Pijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaranari Jaya Vijana Vallabha Jaya Girivaranari Yashodanandana Vajanarandana Yashodanandana Vajanarandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Gunja Bihari. We'll read Prabhu the translation. Krishna is the lover of Radha. He displays many amorous pastimes in the groups of Vrindavan. He is the lover of the covered maidens of Braja and the holder of the great hill named Govardhan and the beloved son of Mother Yashoda. He delights the inhabitants of Braja and wanders in the forests along the banks of the river Yamuna. Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Tagore Star Premandev Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Dev Ki Jai. Can we have Prabhu Mangalachan prayers? Thank you. Mangyanatimirandasya Gyananjanashalakaya Chakshurumilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sapitam Jena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Nadati Swapadantikam Pandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Shahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhavitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrinda Maneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhascha Kripasundabhayavacha Patitanam Pavanebha Vaishnavebha Namo Namaha Nitai Namine Che Namirate Sradhamle Nam Dite Chere Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Thank you, Prabhu. So we will start our discussion. So I will speak today on the 18th chapter, continuing. And today I would like to talk about the most confidential knowledge of all, which is devotional service. So without further ado, let me share my screen. Is my screen audible?
Yes, Prabhu, we can see your screen, Prabhu.
Thank you. So, three verses in Bhagavad Gita 18.63, 18.64, and 18.65. They comprise the most confidential knowledge. So, I will read the first verse. Iti te jnanamakyatam guyat guyataram maya brimrishvaitat asheshena yathichvashi tatha kuru. Synonyms: iti, thus, te, unto you, jnanam, knowledge, akyatam, describe, guyat, then confidential, guyataram, still more confidential, maya, by me. Bimrisha deliberating etat on this, sesena fully yata as chashi you like, tatha that guru perform. So my apology, it's 18.64 to 66, but I wanted to, the most confidential knowledge, but I just wanted to read the translation to get into the context for this verse. This is thus I have explained to you knowledge still more confidential, deliberate on this fully, and then do what you wish to do. So still more confidential knowledge. What is that? That is knowledge of super soul. And before that, Vishnu gave confidential knowledge to Arjuna, which is knowledge of Brahman. So now Krishna asked him to deliberate on super soul, or the knowledge, more confidential knowledge he has given. And then we will go to the next verse, actually, where the most confidential knowledge Krishna will provide to Arjuna. So 18.64 to 18.66, these three verses indicate the most confidential knowledge, where 64 is just introduction, and 65 and 66 talks in more detail what is the most confidential knowledge and what we need to do using that confidential knowledge to please Krishna. Sarva guya tamam huya srinu me paramam vachaha istoshi me driram iti tato vakshyami te hitam. Translation. Okay, I'll do the synonyms actually. Translation. Sarva guya tamam, the most confidential of all. Bhuya, again. Srinu, just hear. Me, from me. Paramam, the supreme. Vachaha, instruction. Sta, ashi, your dear. Me to me, Briram very, thus, tatha therefore, Shyami, I'm speaking, te for you, hitam, benefit. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Because you are very dear, you are my very dear friend. I'm speaking to you my supreme instruction, the most confidential knowledge of all. Hear this from me, for it is for you benefit. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Lord has given Arjuna knowledge that is confidential, knowledge of Brahman, and still more confidential, knowledge of the super soul within everyone's heart. And now he is giving the most confidential part of knowledge. Just surrender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead. At the end of the 9th chapter, he has said, Man Manaha, just always think of me. So I just wanted to bring up that verse because here how the Lord talks about is thinking of him. Ananyaschintayanto mam yajana paryupashate tesam nityabhyuktanam yogashe mam mahamaham. But those who always worship me with exclusive devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and I preserve what they have. So we can see here how the Lord is asking to worship Him with utmost devotion and then thinking about the lost transcendental form. And those who do that and can do that, the Lord is saying He will carry what they lack and He will preserve what they have. So there is a story in the Puranas which I wanted to describe, which goes very much in line with this. So in ancient time, there was a Brahmana who was meditating on this verse of Bhagavad Gita. And he said, Lord will carry what I lack, and the Lord will preserve what I have. Preserving is okay, but carrying what I lack, he found it very difficult to believe. So what he did, he actually crossed out the Bahami verse in his notebook. I mean, the Bahami word. And he was thinking, what can be a perfect word to use except of Bahami here? And just by thinking about that, he went to take his bath. So then what happened, the Brahmana's wife was cooking preparations and she was worried because Brahmana actually lives by begging alms normally, and whatever they get as dakshina, they survive with that, or maintain their existence. So in previous ages, Brahmanas didn't used to work like now. They used to their duty was patan jajan jajan, reading, teaching, worshipping, and carrying out sacrifices. So Brahmani was very worried how I am going to make meals for like next day or the day after. So then two boys came. One was blackish, another boy was, whitish, and they were carrying. One boy was carrying, a big load of rice. Another boy was carrying a big load of, dal. So grain and so and then the Brahmanis, when they came near the door and called for the Brahmana came and said, the Brahmana, actually my husband went out. So what do you want? So they said, we brought this foodstuffs, these grains and dal for you. So then Brahmani became very astonished. She said, who sent you here? Then they said, no, we just came, somebody asked us to drop these things here. They dropped the grains, and when they were returning, suddenly Brahmani saw that there were whip marks on their, backside. So Brahmani was shocked, and she asked, who beat you so mercilessly? And then the two boys said, it's none other than your husband. He actually asked us to carry, some things, and we said we can, but he kind of still thought we can't, and that's why he kind of beat us like this. Some Brahmana said, let this my husband come, I will ask him why he did this. And then when they left, the Brahmana came after some time. And then the Brahmani was kind of furious. He said, what kind of cruel person are you? How can you beat two, small, kids like this? They're so beautiful. One is blackish, one is whitish. How can you whip them like this? So then the Brahmana became astonished. He said, I didn't whip anybody. Why you are blaming me like this? And then the Brahmana described everything what happened. And then the Brahmana realized actually Krishna and Balaram came as the two young boys. And they wanted to prove that they really carry what the devotees lack. Here the Brahmana, and especially the Brahmani, was worried about what they will eat the next day, because rains were over and There was nothing left in the house. So then the Brahmana was feeling so ashamed and he begged forgiveness from the Lord. So that way we can see how the Lord takes care of his devotees. So that's why we were reading about this, that this just always think of me. So the same instruction is repeated here, as you see in the purport, to stress the essence of the teachings of Bhagavad Gita. This essence is not understood by a common man, but by one who is actually very dear to Krishna, pure devotee of Krishna. This is the most important instruction in all Vedic literature. What Krishna is saying in this connection is the most essential part of knowledge, and it should be carried out not only by Arjuna, but by all living entities. So here we can see that the most confidential knowledge is surrendering unto the Supreme Lord. And also, we can see how Krishna is explaining that since Arjuna is very dear to him, he's going to explain this confidential knowledge. So actually, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, when he was giving commentary on this verse, he was, he and both Baladev Vidyabhushan actually, they actually, wanted to mention this specific point that, this knowledge is very confidential, and Krishna normally don't give this knowledge directly like this. He gives this knowledge through gurus, Shiksha Guru, Diksha Gurus. But here Krishna is breaking that vow, and he is giving this knowledge to Krishna, Arjuna directly. Why? Because Arjuna is his very dear friend and he can do anything for Arjuna. So if somebody can become devotee like Arjuna, then the Lord says that, he will be within the Lord and the Lord will be within him always. So another aspect is, here one other thing is significant, which is who can understand this essence of knowledge? Only ones who are very dear to Krishna. And common man cannot understand. We have seen some people consider Krishna as a historic person who kind of was very diplomatic. He helped Pandavas win a war. He was a very influential person, blah, blah, blah. There are so many conspiracy theories or so many other ideas about Krishna. But they don't know who Krishna actually is. Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So Krishna wanted to give this knowledge not only to Arjuna, but also to all living entities. And we can see that actually this specific knowledge is most confidential, and at the same time, Krishna actually now is going to reveal more about this in the upcoming verses. So before we go to the next verse, I was wondering if anybody would like to add anything or, have any reflection.
Oh, that pastime was very nice. That Brahmana pastime, the Lord is specifically showing that, he personally carries, what you lack. So that's a very interesting pastime. Very nice.
Thank you. Anything else?
Let me check if online, if there are any comments or feedbacks or questions. Okay. No, we don't have any comments online, Prabhu.
Okay. So one other thing I wanted to mention here, that in this context, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur actually considers these three verses as like, especially the two verses that we're going to read after this, 65 and 66, as kind of prime verses and most confidential verses of Bhagavad Gita. The reason behind that is he actually considers the whole Bhagavad Gita like, a chest of jewels. So what is happening? The first 6 chapters, Karma Yoga, that he says that comprises the bottom part of the chest made of gold. So obviously this knowledge is very important, knowledge of having knowledge of karma and how it can be converted into yoga by working in Krishna consciousness or Nishkam Karma Yoga. So these are very important philosophies he mentions. But then he says, what makes the cover of that chest is the later, the like last 6 chapters, which which discusses about jnana, knowledge regarding the supreme. So he says that, and these are all jewels, he said. Like if you see a gold, I don't know, gold chest, you'll see, probably it doesn't exist nowadays, but previously, um, people used to keep jewels in such nice chests. I have seen one. There was one. My mom had such nice small, chest, and I used to play with it when I was young. When I was a young boy. But I was thinking that these jewels, which are coming as knowledge in the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita, they are very precious. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur says. But he actually exclusively mentions that 2 verses, 1865 and 1866. They are actually like, writings on the cover of the chest. He specifically says actually that these covers, are containing these 2 verses, the sacred 64 syllables beginning with Man Mana Bhava Man Bhakta. So this covering of the treasure chest contains these 2 verses, and they actually give the key to get inside the chest. And what is inside the chest? The most confidential knowledge, which is devotional service of the Supreme. And why it is most confidential knowledge? Because with devotional service, we can control the Lord. And that's why Krishna can give liberation to anyone. Shishupal got liberation. All the demons, they got liberation. Krishna can give material assets to everyone, material blessings, but he's very particular when giving devotion, because he knows that if somebody receives devotion from Krishna, a bona fide guru, then he can control Krishna, or she can control Krishna. And that's why it's very confidential knowledge. So we will go to the next verse. Okay, so somebody here would like to read. Ashramada Prabhu, would you like to read the next verse, if you are available?
I can read.
Thank you.
Manmana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mamevasya shishatyam te pratijane priyosime. Read the translation also, Prabhu. Prabhu, you are speaking on mute, I think.
Yes, Prabhu, please. And then the purport.
Okay. So synonyms, you want me to read the synonyms?
Prabhu, up to you. If you want, then otherwise, okay.
Matmana, thinking of me. Bhava, just become. Mad Bhakta, my devotee. Mad Yaji, my worshipper. Mam, unto me. Namaskuru, offer your obeisances. Mam, unto me. Eva, certainly. Yashyashi, you will come. Satyam, truly. Te, to you. Pratijane, I promise. Priya, dear. Asi, you are. Me, to me. All translation by Srila Prabhupada. Always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, and offer your homage unto me. Thus you will come to me without fail. I promise you this because you are my dear, my very dear friend. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The most confidential part of knowledge is that one should become a pure devotee of Krishna and always think of him and act for him. One should not become an official meditator. A life should be so molded that one will always have the chance to think of Krishna. One should always act in such a way that all his daily activities are in connection with Krishna. He should arrange his life in such a way that throughout the 24 hours he cannot but think of Krishna. And the Lord's promise is that anyone who is in such pure Krishna consciousness will certainly return to the abode of Krishna. where he will be engaged in the association of Krishna face to face. This most confidential part of knowledge is spoken to Arjuna because he is the dear friend of Krishna. Everyone who follows the path of Arjuna can become a dear friend to Krishna and obtain the same perfection as Arjuna. These words stress that one should concentrate his mind upon Krishna, the very form with two hands carrying a flute, the bluish boy with a beautiful face and peacock feathers in his hair. There are descriptions of Krishna found in the Brahma Samhita and other literatures. One should fix his mind on this original form of Godhead Krishna. One should not even divert his attention to other forms of the Lord. The Lord has multi forms as Vishnu, Narayan, Rama, Varaha, etc. But a devotee should concentrate his mind on the form that was present before Arjuna. Concentration of the mind on the form of Krishna constitutes the most confidential part of knowledge. And this is disclosed to Arjuna because Arjuna is the most dear friend of Krishna's.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Mhm.
So we can see here a few things. First is the Lord is advising Arjuna that don't become an official mediator. Try to mold your life in such a way so that you can do your activities in Krishna consciousness and can always think of Krishna. So he asks to be a pure devotee of Krishna or of himself, and Prabhupada also mentions the same in the purport. And also, Krishna wants us to always think about him and work for him. Through Arjuna, actually, he is delivering his message to all of us. So then the Lord gives a promise, as you can see. What is the promise? If anybody is in such consciousness, Krishna consciousness, then they will certainly return to the abode of Lord Krishna. He gives guarantee here. And we see many, products we buy, guarantees given, right, for the products. Like, if you buy this 100% guaranteed, you will get that 100% guaranteed, you will have this. But sometimes we see it doesn't work out. We buy a product and then we return it after a week because we didn't like it either. We found it faulty. But Krishna is not like that. When Krishna is saying something, he really means it because he's absolute and he's all powerful. So he's saying that you will come to my abode, which is Goloka, Srikoloka Vrindavan. And also, he's also saying that, we'll engage with Krishna face to face. So it's such a boon. And now another question can come, why this knowledge was spoken to Arjuna? There were many persons in the Kurukshetra war. There were Bhima, there were Bhishma Deva, then there were other warriors, there were Dronacharya, if you consider seniority. So, and then there were Maharaj Virat, so many great warriors were there, but why chose Arjuna to deliver this knowledge? Because Arjuna is very dear to the Lord. The Lord doesn't pass on this confidential message to each and everyone. He gives this knowledge to those who are dear to him and who considers the Lord as their life and soul, and also they consider the Lord as dear to them. So that's why now also one other point is how we can obtain the same perfection. So Prabhupada mentions in the purport, if we follow the path of Arjuna, just surrender to Krishna, listen to Krishna's instructions, we can become a dear friend of Krishna and we can obtain the same perfection. So another aspect is, which form we should concentrate. The Lord has various forms like Vishnu, Narayana, Rama, Varaha, Nisringa. But here, Krishna is saying that focus on my two-armed form as Lord Krishna, which is as mentioned in Brahma Samhita also. And that is the most confidential knowledge, that always think of Krishna, worship Krishna, offer homage to Krishna, and become Krishna's devotee. So the Lord is becoming very specific here, actually, that just focus on me and you will come to me. So here, actually, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan, they, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is considered a Sikh. So he actually wanted to, expand this verse. So he was mentioning that actually those who are in Mathura, they use the Satyam a lot. I mean, they say Satyam in everything. And actually, what they mean, Satyam means, to promise, to pledge. But then Arjuna was asking to Krishna, you are from Mathura and you are saying Satyam te. I cannot trust it because Mathura residents, they say like this in every words. So how can I, take this as confirmation? Then Krishna double confirms. I promise you this. Mam evashrami satyam te pratijane priyasime. Pratijane, I promise because you are my very dear. So though Mathura residents do use this satyam word when they're speaking, they're very polished, right? They are, in the city. Krishna staying in the Mathura as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. They're very polished in their communication. So, but when somebody is very dear, even the residents of Mathura, like somebody who is very dear to a person in Mathura, they will not cheat that person. If they're promising, they will keep it. And because Krishna is saying, though I'm from Mathura, but you are my very dear friend. And that's why I promise you that I will do as I'm saying. If you do these things, then you'll come to me without fail. So let's see if anything else is. Yeah, so anybody has any realization or comment that you'd like to share before we go to the next verse?
Aniruddh,
Yes, Brajavan Prabhu.
Thank you for the wonderful pastime you explained previously, and also Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's point you were mentioning about Mathura. In the previous verse, Garuda Prabhu gives an interesting interpretation that Krishna says here, Vakshami, and then he says Paramam Vachaha. So this is a great thing what I'm going to tell. So there Garuda Prabhu says Ishtaha Asime Iti. So iti can also be taken as a quotation mark. So he says, if you put Ishtaha Asime in a quotation, that can also be taken as Paramam Vachaha. So he says, you are dear to me. And that's the great statement I am making. So he, in an extension, he says to all the souls that you are very dear to me. The same point what you're reflecting in the next verse that Krishna is saying to Arjuna, that you are dear to me. Here also he's repeating that again. So I wanted to share.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was very insightful, and thank you for sharing your knowledge. You are a Sanskrit scholar, so our assembly is enriched that you joined us.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, so I wanted to mention one other point on the verse 1865. So actually, Baladev Buddhavishan does agree with Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur on the point of Mathuravasi. So it's a very strong, I would say, discussion, and makes sense. It made a lot of sense to me, actually, how the Lord is promising for his dear friend. Let me see if there's something else that I'm missing. Before we go to the next verse. Okay, so no, I think I will cover everything. So we'll go to the next verse, which is 1866. Is there? Meera Mataji, would you like to read 1866? Or Brajajiman Prabhu? Whoever is available.
I can read it. Meera Mataji is there. She can read.
Sorry?
Meera Mataji is available. She can read.
Okay, I'll only read English, not Sanskrit.
Okay, so Brajajiman Prabhu, can you please read the verse?
Sure. Sarvadharman parityajya mamekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami ma sucha.
Thank you, Prabhu. Would you like to read synonyms also?
Sure. Sarva Dharman, all varieties of religion, Parityajya, abandoning, Mam unto me, Ekam, only, Sharanam, for surrender, Vraja, go, Aham, I, Tvam, you, Sarva, Sarva, all, Papebhyaha, from sinful reactions, Moksha Yushyami, will deliver, Ma, do not worry, do not, Shuchaha, worry.
Thank you, Prabhu. Prabhu, you can read the translation also, then Meera Mataji can read the purport.
Sure. Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear.
Thank you, Prabhu. Meera Mataji, would you like to read the purport?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Oops.
Probably you can, if you don't want to read full, then you can probably Mataji read till here.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, Trilokini can read the rest. First two
Okay.
paragraphs. Yeah, go ahead.
Prabhu, Aniruddh Nitaicand, Prabhu, before you proceed, there is a question from Trilokini Mataji on the Zoom chat.
Okay. Yeah, can you take the question, Prabhu?
Yeah, you can take it later, but there is a question there. Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Mataji, please go ahead, Meera Mataji.
Okay. The Lord has described various kinds of knowledge and processes of religion. Knowledge of the Supreme Brahman, knowledge of the Super Soul, knowledge of the different types of orders and status of social life, knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense of mind control, meditation, etc. He has described in so many ways different types of religion. Now, in summarizing Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that Arjuna should give up all the processes that have been explained to him. He should simply surrender to Krishna. That surrender will save him from all kinds of sinful reactions, for the Lord personally promises to protect him. That's where I should read.
Yeah, next paragraph also. Mataji.
Okay. In the 7th chapter, it was said that only one who has become free from all sinful reactions can take to the worship of Lord Krishna. Thus, one may think that unless he is free from all sinful reactions, he cannot take to the surrendering process. To such doubts, it is here said that even if one is not free from all sinful reactions, simply by the process of surrendering to Sri Krishna, he is automatically freed. There is no need of strenuous effort to free oneself from sinful reactions. One should unhesitatingly accept Krishna as the supreme savior of all living entities. With faith and love, one should surrender unto him. The process of surrender to Krishna is described in the Hari Bhakta Vilasa.
Thank you, Mataji. Trilokini, would you like to read the rest? If you're available to read, I don't know if you're available.
Yes, I can read.
Okay, thank you.
Anukulasya sankalpa pratikulasya varjanam rakshasya vishwasho guptripte varnam tatha atmanikshapa karpanne sadvida sharanagutihi. According to the devotional process, one should simply accept such religious principles that will lead ultimately to the devotional service of the Lord. One may perform a particular occupational duty according to his position in the social order. But if by executing his duty, one does not come to the point of Krishna consciousness, all his activities are in vain. Anything that does not lead to the perfectional stage of Krishna consciousness should be avoided. One should be confident that in all circumstances, Krishna will protect him from all difficulties. There is no need of thinking how one should keep the body and soul together. Krishna will see to that. One should always think himself helpless and should consider Krishna the only basis of his progress in life. As soon as one seriously engages himself in devotional service to the Lord in full Krishna consciousness, at once he becomes freed from all contamination of material nature. There are different processes of religion and purificatory processes by cultivation of knowledge, meditation in the mystic yoga system, etc. But one who surrenders unto Krishna does not have to execute so many methods. That simple surrender unto Krishna will save him from unnecessarily wasting time. One can thus make all progress at once and be freed from all sinful reactions. One should be attracted by the beautiful vision of Krishna. His name is Krishna because he is all attractive. One who becomes attracted by the beautiful, all powerful, omnipotent vision of Krishna is fortunate. There are different kinds of transcendentalists. Some of them are attached to the impersonal Brahman vision. Some of them are attracted by the super soul feature, etc. But one who is attracted to the personal feature of the supreme personality of Godhead, and above all, one who is attracted by the supreme personality of Godhead at Krishna himself, is the most perfect transcendentalist. In other words, devotional service to Krishna in full consciousness is the most confidential part of knowledge, and this is the essence of the whole Bhagavad Gita. Karma yogis, empiric philosophers, mystics, and devotees are all called transcendentalists, but one who is a pure devotee is the best of all. The particular words used here, ma shuchaha, don't fear, don't hesitate, don't worry, are very significant. One may be perplexed as to how one can give up all kinds of religious forms and simply surrender unto Krishna, but such worry is useless. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, thank you. So before going to the purport, let's check the question. Okay. Krishna, what is the problem with Krishna's Mathura Basi? So actually, it is not a problem. We'll have to understand the mood Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur and Baladev Vidyabhushan was speaking. They were joking actually, because Mathura Basis, as I mentioned before, they actually, vow in every word. They use the sektam. So they vow in every word. So when they are speaking with each other, normally they don't take this very seriously. If they say, I vow that, I'll go to his place today, sektam. So, it's not to be taken seriously, right? That's what general trend. But Krishna, just to double confirm, because Arjuna might say, okay, you are from Mathura and you use the satyam word all the time, right? Let's go to the previous verse. So we see Mam Evashwasi Satyam. So you use Satyam all the time. So how should I believe you? Then that's why Krishna says, Prati Jane Priyo Shime. That Prati Jane, he's promising, I promise, because you are my dear. Is that clear, Tilukni?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, Prajman Prabhu, would you like to add anything?
You are good, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. So we were discussing this 1866. So now few things are here. First is, so what Krishna is meaning here, like by abandoning all varieties of religion. So we see throughout the 17 chapters in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about different type of orders and statuses of social life, then knowledge of the renounced order of life, knowledge of non-attachment, sense and mind control, then karma yoga, dhyana yoga, jnana yoga, everything he has discussed. But then now he's saying that just give up all this. So, somebody can ask, okay, if he wants to at last, give up all this, then why at the first place he told Arjuna all these things? Because to give up something, first we'll have to know about them actually. If we give up something by not knowing, that's ignorance. That's activity in the mode of ignorance actually. So we'll have to know actually what is what. And that's why Krishna explained everything first till 17 chapters. And after making Arjuna aware of all this, then he said, now give all this up. And just surrender. So now how the surrendering will save the person? Because the Lord is promising here to protect from all kinds of sinful reactions. So as we see in Hari Bhakti Vilas, the process of surrender is mentioned, right? And the Kulasha Sankalpa, Patikulasha Varjana, Lakshashati Vishvasha, Gopatridbe Varanam Tatha, Atma Nikshepa Karpanne, Satvida Saranagati. These are the 6 limbs of surrender. So if we go to, the Subodhini, we can see, these are very nicely mentioned, the 6 limbs of surrender. Here are those 66 here. So, yeah, the various kinds of knowledge, surrender. So, okay, maybe not here, maybe here only those are mentioned. So, Nicholas Sankalpa, taking Sankalpa which are favorable for devotional service, then, rejecting what is unfavorable for devotional service, then always believing that Krishna will protect. And then says that confidence in Krishna's protection in all circumstances. Rakshayati Vishvashu. Then comes 4th point, Gopat Pritve Varanam Tatha, which means no need of thinking, how we need to keep, the body soul together. Krishna will make arrangement. And then Atma Nikshepa Karpanne. We should have to think that always, that we are helpless, and at the same time, we should consider Krishna as the basis of our progress in life. And these are 6 limbs of surrender. So we don't need to actually go through purificatory and religious processes unless, we are not 100% attached to Krishna, and we are also trying to develop that surrender to Krishna. So now we see here Krishna says Ma Shuchaha. That means don't fear. He's giving assurance to Arjuna. And somebody can think how we can give up all this purificatory and religious processes which I used to do for such a long time, So, but Prabhupada says that such ori is useless in his purport, because Krishna is giving assurance that he is delivered from all sinful reactions. So if we see a few verses related to this, like in Bhagavad Gita 7:28, Yesam tantagatam papam jnananam pinnakarmanam tedanva mohanin mukta bhajante mam nirabataha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are free from the dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So here Krishna is setting up a standard and some qualifications that somebody needs if he wants to engage in Krishna's service with determination. What are those? They have to act piously in previous lives and also this life. And then all sinful reactions, they have already been eradicated, and they're free from delusion, dualities. So at least I can say about myself, I don't meet that criteria. So what is my hope then? My hope is this verse that we're reading, 1866, where Krishna now is not even giving any requirement now. He's saying just surrender unto me. And by that only, he will take care of all the sinful activities. And he will help to eradicate all the sinful activities. So this is very important, actually. And as you can see, Krishna mentions that by surrendering unto him, we'll develop attachment to the Lord, actually. And in the process, the process will start actually to diminish the sinful reactions already. So this is already included in Bhakti Yoga. We don't need to do anything separate for atonement. Like we see, Prabhupada Maharaj was asking Sukadeva Goswami, about the process of atonement. So Sukadeva Goswami says that this is actually, people do atonement, but then what happens after atonement? They again indulge in sinful activities, because the seed or desire to perform sinful activity remains in the heart. So, but when one starts performing devotional service, that seed or of sinful desire gets eradicated from the root, completely. And that takes away the desire to perform sinful activities from the root. So one other important aspect here is, yes, Krishna is asking to surrender, but again, we'll have to understand that this process is for Arjuna, who is already dear friend of Krishna, and he already accepted Krishna as his guru. We can see in the previous verses, he said, in the first chapter that, now you do whatever you want to instruct me. So Krishna became officially the guru of Arjuna, actually. So that's why to surrender to Krishna, we need a medium. That can be a Shiksha guru, that can be a Diksha guru. So, but we need to follow, and that can be previous acharyas. So we need to follow acharyas' instructions, but they have passed on. In our sampradaya, we have Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, Jiva Goswami, then Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur, Acharya Baladev Buddhabhushan, then comes Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur, Srila Prabhupada, who have tirelessly wrote all these literatures for us to leave instructions. Actually, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he met Rupa and Sanatana Goswami, he gave specific tasks to them because he wanted these literatures to be written, and then he wanted the holy places in Vrindavan to be excavated. And then he also wanted to establish temple in Vrindavan. And then he wanted to spread this knowledge of Krishna consciousness all over the world through Rupa, Sanatan, and other acharyas. That's why we are called Rupanuga, because we follow whatever teachings we have learned from Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, and other previous acharyas. We have so much depth to them, actually. And it's we can realize that if we follow their instructions. And actually, Mahaprabhu, he, I would say, is more kind. Here, Krishna gave an, we can see a condition is there. You will have to surrender. But Mahaprabhu is not even asking to surrender unto him. He is asking, just chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And just by chanting, or everything will be achieved. Obviously, chanting has to be done without offenses. And that's why we need Shiksha Gurus who will guide us to chant offenselessly. And so this process of chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it's actually very important. And Srila Prabhupada says 99% of the progress in spiritual life will come from chanting. But then again, we cannot do chanting, as Kadambaka Maharaj says, without reading Shastra and hearing about Shastra, because these two are kind of goes hand in hand. Like a red line, one is chanting, probably one of the line, and the other line is reading and hearing. Shravanam, Kirtanam, and chanting. So chanting is Kirtanam, and then Shravanam is hearing. So both of them should go hand in hand. Otherwise, Kadambaka Maharaj says that at some point everything will come at stall. We'll lose interest in chanting, and then we'll just eat, sleep, and waste the life. So that's why all these treasures we have been given. We are so fortunate. Mahaprabhu has given through his associates the literatures. He has given the Hare Krishna Mahamantra for us. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama eva kevalam. Kalu nasteva, nasteva, nasteva gatiranta. There is no other way, there is no other way, there is no other way. 3 times it's mentioned. But Shukadeva Goswami says to Krishna Maharaj, Asti eka mahangana. What is the mahangana? This Harinam will deliver us. So we are so fortunate to be in Gauriya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and we are fortunate to be connected with Mahaprabhu to the disciplic succession. And even if you are not, anybody can chant anywhere. Mahaprabhu said, Grihe tako bane thakur, sada hori bolala. So you can stay in village, you can stay in forest, just chant the holy name of Lord Krishna. And we have our Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur, who used to chant 300,000 names of the Lord every day. We chant 16 rounds, at least, we chant 16 rounds, which is 16 into 8, how much? Can somebody from the audience tell how much is 16 into 8? I have actually calculated.
128.
Yeah, but each round has 108, right, Prabhu? So 16 into 108 into 8, 1024. Thank you, Ashmal. So we chant 1024 names of the Lord every day. Haridas Thakur used to chant 300,000 names. So that's why he was given the title Namacharya. He's the Acharya of the holy name of Lord Krishna. And you will see Mahaprabhu's instructions. One instruction was common to everyone: chant Hare Krishna. He actually, now Mahaprabhu is making his associates available to us. And he made this name easily available. It was not available before. People used to chant silently the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. They are fearful, but he made it open public. You can do kirtan outside with Mahamantra, and everyone is getting delivered. At the same time, our ISB is focused on book distribution. So that is another, Srila Bhaktivinoda Saraswati Thakur says book distribution as Brihat Midanga. So there is small Midanga, with which we do kirtan, and there is Brihat Midanga, which is the distribution of transcendental literature written by Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas. So Mahaprabhu wanted actually all this knowledge, which came as scriptures by Shantanu Goswami, Rupa Goswami, and all the later acharyas. He wanted it to be distributed all over the world, and that's why we are taking initiative in ISV. Like we have Thanksgiving Harinam in Friday. So I'd request all of you, if you can, please join at least for like an hour and help in the distribution of this transcendental knowledge. And that is the way to please Krishna. Actually, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, there is no one dear to me than the person who tells this knowledge to others. And if we help, whatever way our capacity to expand the Krishna consciousness movement, then Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu will be immensely pleased. And Nityananda Prabhu will recommend us then to Mahaprabhu, that this devotee is trying something to do for your Krishna consciousness movement. So please bestow your mercy on him. And by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, we will get Mahaprabhu's mercy. And once we get Mahaprabhu's mercy, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says there is nothing else in the world to achieve. If we get Mahaprabhu's mercy, everything is achieved actually. So yeah, Ma Shutraha. Do not worry, do not hesitate. He asked Arjuna, even he was feeling so compassionate for Arjuna actually. He saw that Arjuna was deliberating all these different instructions he got from Krishna, the confidential knowledge, the more confidential knowledge. So he became so compassionate. Acharyas was saying that Krishna became very compassionate to Arjuna, and then he gave the most confidential knowledge, which is devotional service. And he said, you don't need to deliberate on these other things I told or other knowledges I mentioned. Just focus on, this knowledge of surrendering unto me and being my devotee. In that way, you will stay with me. Okay, let me see. And also, I wanted to discuss one thing from Srimad Bhagavatam. Narma sanustita pumsam nispaksena kathasuya padayadiratim samayva hikevalam. So, translation, we can see the occupational activities a man performs according to his own position are only so much useless labor if they do not provoke attraction for the message of the personality of Godhead. So we'll have to dovetail our occupational activities with the Supreme Lord. Actually, Prabhupada says we can be where we are, we can do what we want, we can work, we can have family, and if we want to stay brahmachari, we can stay brahmachari. But what is required is dovetailing whatever we are doing, whatever we are thinking in Krishna's service. Otherwise, everything will be futile, as we see in this. Srama evahi kevalam. That means what? Useless labor. Okay. So we see this Manmana Bhava Madbhakta verse is explained twice actually. Once we read, again in 934. Manmana Bhava Madbhakta Manchati Mam Namashkuru Mam Evashya Shiyaktabhyam Atmanam Matparayana. Just engage your mind always in thinking of me, become my devotee. It is the same. And then offer obeisances to me and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So few verses Krishna explains twice. This is one of the verses. Obviously, later part is a little different, but the gist is the same. And Krishna, when he's actually summarizing Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18 for Arjuna, and he mentions this verse twice. You can understand how important this verse, or how important is it to follow Krishna and become his devotee, think about him, worship him. Okay, so with that, I would look if there's any reflection, comments. We have scholars like Bhajan Prabhu, Ashray Madhav over here. So yeah, please, and also if there's any questions online or. Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu, you
Yes,
are
Prabhu.
very much audible.
Okay.
Audible and visible. So there are no questions from online, but if the devotees here, if they have any questions or feedback or comments, they can definitely go ahead. I just wanted to comment one thing, Prabhu. When Krishna came, many acharyas say that Kali Yuga had already started. Okay, but he came and sort of arrested the progress of Kali Yuga. Right? It is almost as if if someone is going in some place where it is very dangerous, and someone who knows that this person who is going to is dangerous and you are his well-wisher, you want to give him something by which he is able to fight the dangers of that place where he is going. So almost this message is to the whole humanity that now you will be moving into Kali Yuga. So, religious duties and all those things you can pretty much forget, right? Because Brahmanas are not real Brahmanas, as you said, right? Vaishyas are not doing the real job. Kshatriyas almost don't exist, basically, right? So pretty much full of Sudras, right, throughout the world. So he's almost saying the only thing you can do at this point, because religious duties are not going to help you. So surrendering to me is the only thing you can do, because you will be committing sins, basically. Cannot avoid sins. In Kali Yuga, you cannot avoid sins. So you will be committing sins. So only option you have is surrender to me. So he was not just telling Arjuna here, he was telling to the whole world, the world where once the Krishna leaves, right, it will be Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, a brief stint of Parikshit Maharaj, and then Janmanjay, then Kali Yuga kind of starts, basically, right?
Correct.
So for those people, he was saying that you have to surrender. There is no other way out, because you will be committing sins, and then who is going to save you? Because the basic platform of doing the religious duties, right? The Kshatriyas were supposed to make sure that the society is going as per the Brahminical, the Brahminical, what is that called? The Brahminical principles that is lost. They are lost, basically, right? So who is going to ensure that the world goes as per the religious process, right? That follows. So this is also, I think, to the whole of humanity.
Agreed, Prabhu. Yeah. And Prabhu, actually, anything else, Prabhu, on this?
No, that's it. That's what I was thinking, that there's, because otherwise Krishna, if you look at it in the other, like when he comes as the previous, like Lord Ram and the other places, he actually tells, he makes sure that everyone hears, and he, through their example, he shows to follow the religious duties. Right? But here he's saying, because it's going to be a hopeless condition now in Kali Yuga. Right. Other than surrendering to Krishna, there is no other way out.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you so much. for the nice comment and nice realization. And we see Krishna didn't stop there. Then he came as Mahaprabhu because he knew that, Kali Yuga, people will be so fallen, they will not be able to even surrender because of the influence of the yoga. And also that since Varnashram will be, kind of mixed, but I mean, it will be kind of non-existent at some point. So to ensure that people know how to surrender, he came as Mahaprabhu and he showed how to surrender to Krishna by his personal example.
Practical, yeah.
Yes, because he know that Kali Yuga, they are manda buddhi, everyone. So unless he comes and shows how to do this surrender, people will not surrender. Even
that is actually a very good point, Prabhu. Yes, that's an excellent point. Yeah.
And obviously, you are right. It's not only for Arjuna or his devotees. It's actually for everyone. Krishna actually instructed Arjuna as somebody he will have to instruct, right? So normally what happens? When we chastise our dear ones. And that way we teach the others.
Yeah.
Only, right? Right? We have a common, GK mere boke shekhan. And when
even
you want
the same thing, like, when the daughter-in-law and daughter is there, so she will chastise the daughter.
Yes, not the daughter-in-law, but the daughter-in-law, when she sees that, the daughter is chastised, she becomes aware, okay, I shouldn't do that. That way, Arjuna is being instructed by the Lord, even chastised in the first few chapters.
Yeah.
Actually, he kind of made Arjuna a medium to instruct this for all of us. And that's why we see Prabhupada's movement and the Krishna consciousness movement in general is expanding now all over the world by Prabhupada's mercy.
Yeah.
Thank you, Prabhu. Very nice points.
Brother Jivan Prabhu is leaving us.
Yes. Okay. So, anything else? Anyone?
I don't know. I think in chat there is probably, I don't know.
Okay, let me check.
Okay, that was Brother Jivan Prabhu. He dropped.
Okay.
I don't know if Meera Mataji or Trilokini, if they have any questions. If not, then Prabhuji, I think if they don't have any comments or questions, there is nothing in online. You can, if you want,
yes,
a small kirtan you can do. It's up to you.
Actually, Prabhu, since you were saying I will do, before that, I wanted to remind everyone again, there is a Harinam on Market and Powell Street on 25th in San Francisco. It's our annual Thanksgiving Harinam. We do it once a year.
Starts at 11 o'clock.
Starts at 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
So if you're interested, please join and help distribute the literatures. There will be prasadam, team, and then there will be music, kirtan. So it's very blissful. And if any of you have an experience, please come and help us in distributing the holy name and the literatures of Srila Prabhupada. Okay, I will end with a small kirtan as Ashramada Prabhu has ordered.
No, I requested.
Okay.
You sing very nice, Prabhu. That's why.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jayo Radha Madan Mohan, Radha Madan Mohan Radhe, Jayo Radha Mana Radha Ramana Radhe, Jayo Mahaprabhu Shriman Mahaprabhu, Jayo Mahaprabhu Shriman Mahaprabhu, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Narahari, Jayo Lakshmi Narasimha, Jayo Narahari, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Krishna Premanande Hari Bol. Thank you, Astamada Prabhu, for helping with broadcasting, and thank you everyone for joining. Prabhu, can we end it now?
Yes, Prabhu, thank you. We can end it now.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, Meera Mataji, you had wanted to say something?
No, I said Hare Krishna. Thank you
Okay.
for the class.
Thank you, Meera Mataji, for attending.
Okay. Now, dear devotees, we'll end the webcast now. Hare Krishna.